Hello, my mind, body, wisdom, devotees, dowsing enthusiasts, and seekers of the truth, especially up in the skies. Now, you've probably heard around the world there's more and more UFO sightings all over the place being reported. And here in my country, in the United States, people are afraid to report them because other people think you're crazy or the government's going to come after them and stuff. But I'm just going to come out and tell you, I had one major UFO sighting just a few years ago, and they actually looked very similar to this, only not as shiny. They were huge, dark ships and shuttles, one big mothership that was a bunch of football fields wide. It was just hovering over Phoenix, and I just about passed out. I was going through the desert park for a walk, and on the lookout for coyotes and snakes and all the other stuff that's in our desert. And there they were. Anyway, I'll never forget it as long as I live, and it was frightening at first because they were very dark, as you could see, almost black ships, which of course, as someone who watches Star Trek, I thought, oh my God, it's the Borg or the Klingons coming after me. And I started to run, and I heard telepathically, right coming in through this part of my head, I heard this deep chuckling. Ha, 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 ha. She thinks she can outrun us. And then I got even more scared, and then I realized I can't outrun them. I'll never make it home because it's like almost a mile away. So I just stood there and listened to their messages, and it was really cool. It was Pleiadians, which are a very friendly, benevolent, loving, kind, and spiritually ascended nation or ethnicity, if you want to call it that. The Pleiadians are wonderful, as are the Arcturians, and some of the Orions, the Sirians, the Andromedans, and even some of the reptilians are basically kind and devoted to helping humanity during this ascension time. Now, there's a bunch of evil ones as well, and you can look them up online if you want. I don't want to talk about them here, but I want to share with you two things you can do for your own UFO experience. And your experience may come in your dreams. Like the first time I ever had an experience that I remembered was decades ago. I had these very vivid dreams about this beautiful silver starship coming down. I was dreaming I was out driving in the desert in one of my cars from long ago, and I saw this light coming from behind the mountains, and I stopped the car, and I climbed up the side of the mountain and looked over, and there was this giant mothership, and the door opened, and I don't know what you want to call it, the door just flipped open like as if it was a walkway, and a large male alien with long silver hair came out, followed eventually by three little ones. And I remember I was so frightened. And after that, I kept having more and more dreams, always starting out that same way. And I went to an intuitive who, everything she told me during that one reading, because she wouldn't let me come back for any more, because she said, you should be giving readings, not getting them. Anyway, everything she told me came true. And I didn't tell her about the UFO dream. And she said to me, you've been wondering if you really saw aliens and a UFO, or it was just a dream. You had a dream about them, didn't you? And I was like, yes. I was thinking, she's pretty good, because I didn't say anything about that. We never even broached that topic. I wanted to know when I'd meet the man of my dreams, and would I find a better job eventually. So she explained to me, and I'm repeating this for you as a learning experience for you, that our souls, which some people are saying inside of us and other people say our souls are outside of us. I don't know anything for sure about that topic. But she said that everyone's soul comes from a home planet. And after the Big Bang, right, when all the souls were released by Prime Creator, they settled on different planets. And some people who adore Earth and love Earth so much, that was their first and primary planet to live on Earth, lifetime after lifetime. I love Mother Earth too, but I've always been fascinated by the skies. If you're someone who's been fascinated by the skies and the planets and even astrology, astronomy, all that, you may be from another planet. Your soul may be, I should say. Well, you might be too. What do I know? Anyway, this beautiful, intuitive healer and reader told me that my prime planet was Arcturus. That was my home planet. And I was going to be living there in my next lifetime, doing some great work for that culture. I'm like, wow. So I had a lot to learn in this life. Anyway, I would suggest, if you know how to dowse and you feel safe to do this, go ahead and dowse for your home planet. I'll give you a demonstration right now. As you know, I'm the author of Fearless Accurate Dowsing, a bestseller on Amazon. And this is one of the many things you can do with dowsing. Just find some hidden secrets and such. So, dowsing source. Ready to do some demonstrations and answer some questions for me today. Do I have permission to find out what is the home planet that my soul reincarnates on the most, and basically the planet that it calls home? The planet that my soul calls home is Andromeda, Orion, Sirius, Pleiades, any of the reptilian planets, Arcturus. Okay. Dowsing source, do you know if it's true that all souls, and we all have a soul on this planet, as do animals, I suppose some plants do, they say businesses even have souls. They could be very evil and corrupt, or they could be very sweet and kind and giving and helping others. Dowsing source, do you know for sure that all souls have a home planet, which was basically their first base for incarnation? You do know about that? So it's true. It's a true story, what I was told long ago. When I was having those reoccurring dreams about driving out in the desert and going, watching the starship and everything, do you know about those dowsing source, those dreams? Do I have permission to share with the people viewing now? Was that just a dream, or was it a real experience for my etheric body? Those dreams about seeing the starship out in the desert that just kept coming back like every night or every 2 nights or so, those were just dreams. That's a no answer. This is a yes answer. Muscle testing rocks, right? Do I have permission to share more with people watching this video about their home planets? I just heard, in fact, you're being encouraged to do so. May I know by whom? By the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, Andromedans, Orions, the Sirians? Nope. Okay, so the Pleiadians, who were probably thousands of them in those ships I saw in the desert when I was walking years ago, they want you to know this. The first thing I would suggest is, if you can dowse, find out your home planet. There are so many of them. The ones I just repeated are the basic ones. And don't worry if you're a reptilian, you're coming from a reptilian planet. You could be from one of the friendly cultures there, the ones who are really kind and gentle and loving. So once you feel like you feel safe enough to dowse for it, you can just dowse like I did. Do I have permission to find out the home planet of my soul? And if I am a member of an extraterrestrial race or culture? Yes. You should probably only ask one question at a time. I asked 2, and I will go back and, okay, the home planet, which was my original planet when my soul was created, I have permission to find out what that was, and it was Arcturus. And I have permission to know if I am part of an Arcturian nation or an Arcturian race. I believe there's like 3 or 4 different races for the Arcturians. I am an Arcturian. No, I'm human, humanoid, right? My soul is from the planet Arcturus. All right. When you find out where I would say, the origin of your soul and the planet for your soul is, I would suggest the next step you do, that's the first thing to do. The next one is to learn as much as you can or wish to learn about the home planet that your soul is from. You might be on one of the ground crews, like the Pleiadian ground crew, the Arcturian ground crew, the Orion ground crew, Reptilian ground crew, Sirius ground crew, Andromedan ground crew, that are working to push forward and boost the ascension of planet Earth, and possibly even move into the new Earth, if that's going to happen. I've heard so much about that, but I don't really know how it's going to happen or what. It just seems so far out to me. So I'm just like, okay, if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, that's not great, especially if I'm stuck here. Anyway, the next thing I would suggest you do after finding out your home planet is read as much as you can about it, research. I did that. The Arcturians, We the Arcturians, a great book. Actually, it's got a lot of information about the ascension and such, and what life on their starship is about, and all the different chambers they have there and stuff. It's really interesting, even if you dowse and find out you're not Arcturian. And about dowsing, remember, you can always do two-person muscle testing. If you don't know dowsing, you don't want to learn dowsing, the quickest thing you could do is two-person muscle testing. Just like that. All you need is one person with an open mind, and you can just, by judging the strength or weakness of your arm or their arm, when you're strong arm, that's a yes, and then your arm goes down when they press it down and ask a question, it's a no. So the next book I would highly recommend is this one by Suzanne Lai, PhD, Preparing for First Contact. As you can see, I got a bunch of little things in here. This book is so good, I've read it many times. And then by the same author is Life on the Mothership. And it's written almost like a fiction, a novel, but it's about these different beings on the mothership and what it's like and what they're doing to help Earth and such. So once you've researched and maybe you feel very, very comfortable about the origin of your soul and your home planet, and you've learned enough and you feel like, okay, I'm ready to see a starship or meet them through my dreams, give them permission. And what I would recommend you do is just sit quietly for a while, think about what you've read, and you might want to close your eyes and just ask your birth angels, your spirit guides, your spirit doctors, give them permission to help you connect. And then ask, may I connect to the beautiful beings who are watching over me from my home planet? And then you can name your home planet, in my case, Arcturus. And you might feel a little bit, a spurt of joy. You might hear telepathically, yes, it depends on your type of intuition. My primary intuition is clairaudience, which means I hear things from spirit telepathically. There's clairsentience. You might get the cold chills and feel really good. That might be your dominant intuitive gift. There's also clairvoyance, where you see visions in your mind, which I have some of that going on too. Anyway, just ask for permission to connect to them. And then if you have a feeling and you want to keep going, then you can just say, beautiful beings of light and love who are watching over me, inspiring me, and who are from my home planet, I now give you permission to visit me via my dreams, or a sighting like Colleen had, or some kind of a acknowledgement that this is correct, that I am part of this ET race, ET planet, and please bring more information my way. And please show yourselves when you know that I'm unafraid and ready to meet you. Now you may end up like me. I dreamed about the Arcturians and stuff, and now I'm having experiences that I can remember. But also, you may end up like me, going for a walk somewhere and seeing a bunch of UFOs and being able right then and there to identify them because you know dowsing. And remember, there's always the dowsing sway test. I have a video on that, and there's a bunch of other ones. Most people can pick that up just like that. You don't use your hands, you use your body. It's also, it's called body dowsing as well, as opposed to body surfing. But it's surfing for the truth, baby. Anyway, that's what I know and what I would suggest for you to start on your path with your soul tribe, your planet of origin tribe. I'm getting information that it will be revealed next year sometime, 2027. There will be some more sightings, and it'll be at the point where all the people are like, oh, that's bullshit, you're just hallucinating and stuff. They can't deny it anymore, and the governments won't be able to deny it, because it's time for humanity to move forward. And you're probably part of that process. You're an intergalactic treasure. And so am I. So act like it, which means consider doing whatever you can to keep releasing any fears. Lift up your frequency. And the best way I know to do that is by clearing your fears of meeting them, seeing them, what is it going to mean, all this. You know, as humans, we assign meaning to stuff. And it's not always valid meanings. Quite often, we might be hateful or despising certain situations going on the planet and such, when in reality, it's the only way possible for this planet and its people to move forward. So that's all I have to say. Be sure to check out those books if you feel interested in them, or my dowsing book if you like, and my other videos, and know that you are beloved, not just by me, but by so many beings in different dimensions, and of course on Earth. Bless you, love you, peace out, namaste. Get 10 free chapters of my Fearless Accurate Dowsing book on my website, emorescue.com. There's also links to all my Amazon books and other interesting information. Thank you.